If you just joined us, this is The Press. We're reaching you live from KAFTAN's television studio here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Now we'll go straight to analyzing the stories that we read out earlier. And I told you my guest will be Richard Oriri, who is a politician. Great to have you on the show this morning.
It's my pleasure, Anabel. Good morning.
Good morning. Even though I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love your dress.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much.
It is good on you.
I'm a complete African.
Okay.
Yes.
Representing our
local fabric
markets. Great, yes. Great. That's good to hear. All right. So, quite a number of stories. Our phone lines are now open. You can call in to make your contributions right away. All right. So, plenty headlines to talk about, but then let's start with the fact. Punch newspaper says Shettima shelves U.S. trip as presidential jet develops fault mid-air. And this is the same presidential jet that most vice presidents, especially the last one, that's Professor Osibajo, used. And then you have the fact that this trip was supposed to be made by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but then for a few days now, in fact since before the weekend, we're saying the same thing yesterday. We're asking, where is our president? How come nobody has heard from him? Because he was actually supposed to make that trip. And yesterday I saw on social media where Senator Shehu Sani replied and said, you people are looking for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, so that when he comes now, he will now look for one tariff to increase or one hike or the other. But I know he was just joking that side. But then on the Punch says Shettima shells U.S. trip as presidential jet develops fault mid-air. What are your thoughts in this regard?
Thank you, Anabel. Good morning, Nigerians. The whole thing boils down to I can call it lack of maintenance culture in Nigeria. Before President Buhari left office, we have over how many fleet of presidential jets, and which Nigerians were saying that some of those jets should be auctioned out and possibly replace them with new ones. And I don't know if since the inception of this government, this administration, they have bought a new presidential jet. If they have not done that, I think it's better they have new ones, and the ones that they auction out, because like from what has happened now is lack of maintenance. If there was maintenance culture, there's no how we'll have this mid-air hitch. And on the other hand, on the other side of it again, the trip to US was meant to achieve what? What was the basis for the trip to US? That is another question. But my take on the trip to US, the sudden increase, the sudden relationship between Nigeria and US is beginning to raise some kind of questions.
What do you mean by sudden? Is it sudden?
It's sudden. It's sudden in the sense that recently, like last week or so, US releases a report on Nigerian presidential election, on Nigeria general 2023 election. It was just last week or so that the US releases that report. That shows that really pictured out major issues concerning our foreign policy arrangement, and the relationship, the alliance building between Nigeria and the US called for question. And if you look at the policies of this present administration, if you see the policies so clearly, you will see that the present administration, they are picturing, they are bringing out this neoliberal policy of the West, the neoliberal policy of the West by privatizing, removing, first of all, he came on board, as the very day he was running, he removes fuel subsidy. He said fuel subsidy is gone. Right. That is a Washington consensus arrangement. In the other face of it, if you want to call it another name, that is neoliberal policy. It's meant for capitalist states, and is the concept of America that the current administration is playing the cards for us. But my problem with
are you saying that we are playing the cards
of American cards is what the current administration is playing out. American cards. They are playing American cards.
That's a huge allegation.
Yes, they are playing American cards. They are playing. Students of international politics. international relations. They are playing American cards, and no liberal policy that they are going about.
Why do you think, or why do you say that the present administration, or why do you accuse the present administration?
Not accusation. It's not accusation. They can't dodge from it. It's not accusation. It's a clear. That is what.
Does it have anything to do with the elections or the coming election in the US?
No. What is this? Not issue. Not that it has a. America is having serious interest in Nigeria. And from the very moment that the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu clearly shows that they are ready for the alliance, That's why the report for 2023 election was delayed in the first instance. That was why the report was delayed. And after he taking oath of office, the first policy he read out to Nigeria was fuel subsidy removal, to send sign to America that I am ready for the deal. And he removes it. Removing the fuel subsidy, ordinarily, yes, what the policy, ordinarily, where we should channel it to. Because the liberal policy says you have to reduce expenditure on investment on subsidy. And when you remove this investment on subsidy, you channel it towards public health care, towards primary health care and infrastructure. You understand? Even this morning before coming out, I was listening to news on one of these national television. The man in charge of public health care in Nigeria, he was there saying something, analyzing some things, and I told my wife, what this man is saying possibly is putting it in place in Lagos. In my community, we don't have anything, no sign. It takes us like over how many kilometers before we even get health service in my place. So they are not especially the man that is in charge of this public health care now. Well, the channeling of this fuel subsidy they have removed now. The channeling of it to public health care, primary health care. Primary health care, primary education, public health care, and primary education, then infrastructure. I meant to say, primary education in Nigeria is the worst hit presently.
Right.
The worst hit. Our basic education system is very wrong, very weak, very. In fact, and that is why you see the result released by JAM. It's as a result of the weak basic education in the country. Because you can't take that blame to be from the students. You can't take it from that is their blame.
So let's divert a little bit, because you talked about the result coming from JAM, where we saw over 70%.
Over 70% poor, below average.
Now,
if you have basic education correct, if you have basic education right in Nigeria, if we can get it right from the basic level, there is no how the people from primary school, these are students, our younger ones are coming from nursery, primary school to university. Before you get to the university, you have been trained, you have best quality training from basic that you can match favorably well when you get to university. It's because the basis of education in Nigeria is not gotten right, and that's why you see them going to write JAM to go to university, that they are not getting it right. And as a result, if you are those ones that can make it to university, as they are coming out of university, they will not be qualified enough for employment. And that's why majority of Nigerian graduates today, I can say 40-45% of Nigerian graduates, they are not employable, because we don't have it from the basis very strong. If you go to India have changed their education system. The target they focus now is on the basic education.
So now, but a lot of people would say that the reason why we have that shortfall is because a lot of more of our children these days, they've joined the Gen Z generation. They believe in technology. They believe in, now for instance, I was talking to a colleague, and then she said her PA, anytime she gives her PA work to do, please, I need you to create a script on this particular story, that one does go straight to ChatGPT and make sure that is prepared in 1 minute or 2 minutes. The script is ready, and you will definitely know that this work is AI related. So because our children, our students of nowadays, they are not ready to work, because they now know that there is something called ChatGPT. They now know that there's something called AI. That's the reason why all of them now some people believe that's more of the reason why you have so much failure, because most people just believe, I cannot read, let me just go straight to ChatGPT to help me dilute or help me understand more of what we have, because these kind of things, this happen in our own time when we had to read with candle lights and lanterns.
If Nigerians should work strongly to put our basic education in a very strong perspective, as once you are in secondary school in Nigeria, the moment you get to school, no lecturer, no teacher, especially how do we call them, metro and petro, something like that take care of female and male students in secondary school. They don't allow any student to come to school with handsets. Or once it's time for learning, you have a particular place, you can construct something where each student will put their phone inside until after school. Before you have access to your handset. That will go a long way in putting them right. From policy, even in this KAFTAN television now, the policy of this organization is what has put you the way you are today. Even secondary schools, primary schools, universities, they can have policies that can checkmate these students.
All right.
And going back again to this US trip,
right?
What happened? That we are in May now, May 7th.
Right.
Almost getting to a year of this administration. Nigeria is the only country in the world today, after 1 year, that have no ambassador. That is the worst thing. Meaning our foreign policy, we don't even have interest in foreign policy. And in the international system, the international politics, you utilize every opportunity. Nigeria is the only country in the whole world today that have no ambassador.
Richard Oriri,
for 1 year.
I would remind you, when this administration started, you had 99.9% optimism that
yes, but it's not wrong. It's not right. I said I will start to check the positive and negative aspect of this administration when we get to at least 1 year. At least even we can even give him 2 years. But it's not good for us as the giant of Africa. Nigeria is a very big country in the whole Africa, in the whole black nation. Right. That we will not have ambassador. The president should, once he comes back, he should do something about Nigeria having ambassadors in all countries of the world.
All right,
because what is going on presently in the global political system, Nigeria have no representative.
All right, let me quote you. You said, unquote, fuel subsidy is gone.
Yes.
That is Tinubu's administration playing to the cards of the US. That's what you said.
It's neoliberal policy, and it's a concept designed by US and these Western countries. NATO.
Let's go on a quick break. When we return, we'll continue this conversation with Richard Oriri, who is a politician. See you after now.
Is being very clear about the targets, where we want to go, being very determined about the effectiveness of our actions, putting it together more efficiently, both from the government side, and then investing more from all the stakeholders, including the government that has already started to invest, monitoring with data much more closely, and accepting that Nigeria is not uniform everywhere, focusing different strategies where they are most relevant based on data, and then committing to a very disciplined, data-managed way of making progress. I think it is doable. Thank you very much. Now, what a commitment from the partners as well, and from the state level. I think the next step is actually to do the plan, to work with the partners to do the investment. One very important thing is how, as partners, we can work closer together, more coherently together, in a more integrated way, to ease the burden on the government side of working with all of us, and to make the most of the resources that we will invest. Most importantly, the population, the community has to be involved, has to know. And for me, as somebody coming from outside, I can only thank and admire the leadership for making this very ambitious plan, but which I think is doable if we all work together. We're in the process. There's already some communication and looking at how exactly, in what sort of quantity to use the vaccine. Certainly, the vaccine, let's emphasize, is a very important tool, but it's one of a range of tools. We must continue with the other things that are being used: the mosquito nets, the spraying, the treatment, the early diagnosis, and focusing particularly on children and pregnant women. So the vaccine will be extremely valuable. We are working with partners to introduce it as soon as possible. The government has to determine the degree to which we need to target it, where it will make the most difference, so that in an affordable way as well. So it's not just the vaccine. It's an additional tool. Everything else that we've been doing and talking about is just as important.
The federal government, through the Ministry of Education, has declared its commitment to crack down on the proliferation of fake certificates within the country. The Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Maman, disclosed this when he received the submission of a report from the Interministerial Investigative Committee on Degree Certificate Milling. Recall that on January 9 this year, the Minister of Education inaugurated an interministerial committee to examine the integrity of allegations of degrees racketeering within both foreign and local private universities. The receiving of the report today in Abuja.
Right, welcome back. We apologize for that break. We had to fix some issues so that you can be able to call us and make your contributions. All right, let's go straight to take another headline this morning, still talking about this current administration, because we've heard of quite a number of things. Still on the Punch newspaper, says France rules out city military base in Nigeria. I'm sure you must have been hearing that report or that headline since last weekend. It's been coming and coming. Nigerian Tribune also says no plan for foreign military base in Nigeria. I'm going to look for there's another one I saw coming from some Northern Elders Forum, who were warning against it, that we should not have such, it should not happen. But then federal government says there's no plan, so it's a lie, and they denied it completely. What are your thoughts on this? Because like they always say, there's no smoke without fire. When you begin to hear some rumors, it means that check again. It might begin to brew up. Where exactly do you think that this report is even coming out from at all?
The elders, the northern elders, they are not speaking from the angle of blindness. They are speaking from what they are seeing happening, in the economy. Because if you look at it very clearly, you will see that, as I said earlier, is the Western ideology, Western policy that the current administration is playing the cards. Removal of fuel subsidy, privatization of public enterprises. That one started from even Buhari administration, and the current government is building on that as well. NNPC privatized, now NNPC limited. So look at now, they say President Tinubu said no minister should travel out to the country. Again, you have to reduce all of this to enable you reinvest in the private sector. Then you open the market for other foreign investors to come. Any neoliberal state is a capitalist state, and the people that benefit from such environment, the private sector. And they don't have sympathy for anybody, and that is why you see even electricity tariff, and you have to equally increase tax tariff. Your tariff have to go up, and you can see that as well happening in this administration. Almost every sector,
The other day I read on one page of a newspaper that the president, what they are after is just tax here and there, everything tax. It's neoliberal arrangement. And Nigeria, US is having so much focus in Nigeria now because they have cut off business relationship with Russia, and their main reservoir of gas this is from Russia. And now, since they don't have business with Russia again, the next target, they have to open up a new channel. Nigeria is the best place for US to have interest in, because we have the best gas in the world. So this new arrangement with US is what is giving fears. As a political scientist, I listened to one elder from the north who is the director of Democratic Center for Democratic Governance or something, the office in Kaduna. The man said he's a professor of political science. So in political science, you don't just talk. You talk based on what you are seeing. You talk based on what you are seeing, and from what is on ground, that is the fear of the northerners.
So let me ask you.
Now, talking about military base.
That's what I was going to ask. What exactly is the importance of having, or what is, help us understand, having a military base, either a US or a France military base in Nigeria? What does it even connect?
America, US today have military base in almost all the countries of the world. They are the police of this world. And today we have three geopolitical arrangement. We have a security issue that in the entire globe today. We have security, and the angle of this security. This angle of the security angle in the entire world today, that is a global security. It's US that is in charge of global security. And that's why you see them everywhere. They are in Russia, they are in Ukraine and Russia, they are in Israel and Palestine. They are almost everywhere. See Taiwan, that China is saying that Taiwan is part of them. US is the only country that is saying Taiwan is not part of them. There are about 12 countries that is in support of Taiwan, recognizing Taiwan. 12 United Nations countries that are in support of Taiwan to be a country. In the entire world, only 12 countries from UN that the one is recognizing Taiwan to be a country. But China said Taiwan is not a country, that Taiwan is part of them. US, they are acting as the police of the world. And for the fact that Nigeria has been complaining of insecurity, complaining of this their new alliance now will make US, that is NATO countries, to have their presence in this country. And that will be part of their assistance to this their new friend. That will be part of their assistance. So, and if they should have that military base here, and it will cause a lot of fear. And this is another sign of colonization. You understand? We are free now from Britain. We cannot be tied again to US. We don't have our brain again to bring out policies on our own that has to do with our local history, our culture. We have our culture differently. We have our history. It's the history of China that is making China not to believe in any of this Western ideology. See, India as well is following that path of not believing in Western ideology. If it is before, like when Russia and Ukraine started this war, US and NATO countries, they started lobbying other countries within the Asian region. They went to China, India, that they should place sanction on Russia. They should not buy anything. But India refuses. India has been buying gas and they have been trading with Russia. Other countries within the Asian country have been trading with Russia, meaning the hegemonic influence of US across the globe is gradually reducing. And Nigeria cannot be one in Africa.
We have to leave that.
Nigeria cannot be one in Africa that is becoming a puppet to US. Let us think inward and think around what is possible within our environment,
right.
And not every policy of America that will be presenting to our people here.
Let's leave that headline and move straight to other ones. Our time is fast spent. On First Newspaper talks about Rivers crisis, and looks like Fubara has been talking tough, really. Here on First Newspaper says Rivers crisis, Fubara talks tough, declares pro-Wike Rivers Assembly members non-existent, tells lawmakers, I have the instruments to shake the table and I determine all of you's existence. As Rivers Assembly issues first threat overrides Fubara, and the governor says again, I appreciate Wike, but I will not worship any human being because he cannot take the place of God. What are your thoughts on this? We actually thought that we've left the Rivers crisis, but then it looks like it's getting fresh every second.
The problem there is coming from followers. I've been watching the River political crisis.
Followers of whom? Fubara or Wike?
No, followers, Fubara's followers and Wike's followers, and the majority of them who are standing with Fubara today, they are all Wike's boys.
Right.
Yeah, they are all Wike's followers, including the Fubara himself. He was a Wike's boy. But now that Fubara has become the governor, they have seen that in the state have more money than even the office that Wike is occupying now as a minister of FCT. So FCT resources, it cannot be equated with what Rivers is getting monthly. So majority of them who are singing praises of Fubara today, they are just pushing him into a pit. And I want to plead that Fubara come in terms with Wike, his oga. Let them, yes, he's the governor. But he should reduce the level at which he listens to these followers who just need something from him at the moment. They were not there when Wike, I could remember when Wike, there was one House of Rep member here that had interest in contesting the same position, governorship. Wike did everything to ensure that man was thrown to jail, to ensure that Fubara succeeds. So all of this, he has done all of this. So it's not today that he should just. There is nothing like being free, being who you are, having integrity and standing by your words. Relationship is all about diplomacy and wisdom. He should not allow people around him to keep causing the crisis in Rivers State. They are all one, and they are all PDP members presently. And if Wike is saying, let us join APC, and he said disagreeing with it, it's something that they can be inside inner room to discuss. See reasons why I'll still be in PDP. You can be in APC, and we are still one. So Rivers is bigger than any of them, and we're not worshiping man, worshiping the God that we are even talking. How many of us worship the God that we are saying they can't worship man but can worship God? How many of us worship God? Are
you saying it's lip service?
It's lip service. So hero worshippers in Nigeria, they are the basic serious problem that democracy is having in this country. Hero worshippers. The hero worshippers in Rivers, they should bring down their arms. Now, some of them, they are grouping themselves, going to this local government, singing praises of Fubara to show that Fubara is on ground. That is what is going on in Rivers. And some other followers loyal to Wike, they will gather themselves in this local government, bringing one thing that they are doing in support of Wike to show that Wike is on ground. All that thing is nonsense. It doesn't mean anything. The both of them should face governance and see how life will be okay for their people, dignified life for the entire river citizens.
All right, let's leave it at that headline. Let's go to the next one. Still on First Newspaper says, Coastal Highway Presidency replies Atiku says Tinubu's son has right to pursue business interest. I'm sure you must have been following that story where you have Atiku Abubakar reminding or telling people that Sheyi Tinubu, who happens to be Tinubu's son, is in the board of the company that was actually won the bid, if there was any bid at all. That's the Shaguri company, that he's amongst the board members. So Atiku says that one is a conflict of interest. It's going to bring conflict of interest. But now the presidency is coming out to tell him that despite the fact that he's the president's son, he still has a right to pursue business interests. What are your thoughts in that regard? Because I'm sure you also saw the video from the common sense senator who says all those who feel disgruntled about the Lagos-Calabar coastal highway, that they should not be allowed to pass that route. They should be allowed to go and pass the longer route.
That common sense senator, at least I watched just his video, and it was it makes sense. It makes sense, as he put it. Common sense, it makes sense, because the construction of the road, just like I said earlier on this platform, is not just by coming on air to challenging the governor, telling the president that or the administration that this road is not good. And if they have alleged that the construction of the road was meant to siphon public funds, it's the responsibility of the presidency that have awarded that contract to come out to tell Nigerians why it is good for us to do this road now. So they have come up to explain to us, and Nigerians have seen why that road is important. And the construction of that road, from what common sense and even the eminent past the presidential candidate of SDP in the 2023 election, Prince Adewale Adebayo, what he said on Arise Television the other day concerning that road is equally a good information to all Nigerians, that road, the opening of that road, will open more investment on that side, and automatically all the road within all the land within that zone will increase in interest, in price, and other people who have money to invest in that coastal line, they will equally go to put establishing factories that will give employment to Nigerians. And the construction of the road, to even the company that is doing this, constructing this road now, they will equally employ Nigerians that will work on that road. And some women who will have a space to cook food, take to workers to eat. That road construction within this period that the road will be under construction will create a lot of job.
Okay, so the guest that we had yesterday was saying that that's not the point that most Nigerians are actually arguing with regards. They are arguing with the fact that having this coastal highway at this point is not prioritized. That we should actually put our scale of preference and find out which one we should prioritize first, because according to him, he said it's not a problem, that definitely it's a good step in the right direction, but if this coastal highway is going to take over 10 years to finish up, then there's no point of starting it now. So don't you actually align with that?
What would be the best time to start it?
It's the person that have the political will to start now that have started. And the problem we have in Nigeria now is problem of infrastructure. We need infrastructure, seriously, road infrastructure and so many infrastructures. And we have started by this contract award for this coastal road to be opened. And that shows a strong will in that direction. And me, I am in support after all the explanations on the reasons why that road should be constructed now. How long can we be waiting? If you say 10 years, even if 10 years, before you know it, 10 years, that is to say, within his administration, if God helps him that in 2027 is contesting for second tenure, and he wins his election in 2027, meaning within the 8 years of this administration, to be remaining just 2 years for that road to be completed. That is to say, he has started early, and he wants this road to be done within his administration, under his watch, that he will see that even if it is not completed, it will be 99.9% completed. And that is a very good sense, a very good idea. And for the son, the allegation that the son is a board member of the company that have been given the contract. Yes, the allegation from Atiku Abubakar to me is in order. If the son is part of the board members of that company, ordinarily, in the reasons of it is not supposed to be true. It's not supposed to be so.
But he has been a board member before this contract came.
If he has been a board member before this contract came, it shouldn't be a company that his son has vested interest in. That is corruption. That is my own opinion. It's not. Yes, the boy has his own right as a citizen of this country
to have business
interests.
Right.
But does it mean that for that company to be given that contract, to be given that contract, shows clearly that both, even if there was any bidding, that shows clearly that both the Minister of Works, who have awarded this contract, and every other person that oversees this bidding and see who qualifies, who is not qualified, they were sitting on a case that is their own. You understand? They were sitting on a case, judging on a case that was their own.
So they are the judge and the jury.
Yes, they were sitting on a case that was their own because their interest was clearly shown. So any other company, any other Nigerian that bidded for that contract will be seen as just a waste of time, or to say let's just do it for formality, because already they have known the company that will be giving the contract. So that is a very clear.
So do you think that's the reason why there was no bid at all?
If there was no bid, that is the highest level of corruption, because such contract, such road construction cannot be given without bidding for it. It shouldn't at all. It shouldn't completely. So there's Nigerians will come to tender. Good.
Let's move
on. If it is investigated and it come out true that President Tinubu's son is one of the board members of that company, then from the beginning, so much corruption was involved before the award of the contract. And
let me borrow the word of guest yesterday who talked about the fact that after all, even the person, the Shaguri himself, if you check very well, they've been very close friends and allies to the president when they were in Lagos. So it means that the Shaguri himself is a friend to the president. You have the son being on the board, who is the son to the president, and now you're talking about Umahi. So that actually means that there was no need to even let it out. It just means give it to my friend; he will take care of it.
That is what has happened. That's what has happened, and I will, as a citizen of this country, I will suggest that thorough investigation be carried out. That company, they should send the name to CAC, Corporate Affairs Commission, to know who are the board members. And if Tinubu's son is part of the board members of that company, then is corruption. And I will advise that contract be reviewed.
All right. In 1 minute, if you can help us. My last headline this morning from the First News also talked about the IGP stance on state police. IGP says we're not ripe for state police. The president says we are ripe for state police. The former president Jonathan is saying the same thing, and some other persons. But the Lagos Assembly is saying that state police is going to curb insecurity in Nigeria. That's different from what the IGP is saying. So what are your thoughts on this? If the IGP is saying no, when the president is saying yes?
See, what the IGP have done, what he has done, clearly done, is to say, even if I am the only person standing on this line, let me be here. He's the only patriotic person from among all the stakeholders.
Are you seeing it as patriotism?
Yeah, I'm seeing it as patriotism because he's putting the interest of this country first before any other interest. Nigeria is not ripe for state policing now. And the idea of going into it just to favor governors to favor governors at the state level on the interest of party basis. I know in all the countries, in all the states of the federation, it's not every state that APC is leading, and it's not every state that PDP is leading. But state policing now will be another strong tool to be used against opponents, political opponents.
All right.
And some of these, like even Lagos State House of Assembly that are in support of state policy, they are doing that now because they have seen the direction of the president. So every other person saying I am in support of state policy now, they are hero worshippers. They just want to plead the president to say where he's standing, that is where we are standing. They are not talking
they're not denying it from the beginning.
From the perspective of nationalism.
Richard, from the beginning, they've always been chanting on your mandate we shall stand. So they're not denying it now. They're still standing on the mandate.
Territorial nationalism should be our focal point. The interest of the nation,
all right,
not our personal interest or the interest of our leaders, of our godfathers.
Richard, Oriri, journalist, it's been a politician. It's been a wonderful time having this talk with you.
It's my pleasure.
All right.